we're going to get on our topic is Reimagining Assessment, empowering educators in the GenAI era with the practical tools and strategies. So there are a few parts. I'm going to divide my presentation. I'm going to talk about machine first, and I have to stand up because it's so cold. I keep myself moving, and then it gets warm. Now we're going to talk about humans, like traces, characters, and marks of AI works. So something that as educators, as teachers, we can see as like what kind of works are they creating. We can bust them that way. But more we'll focus on later part is the paradigm shift, the change. Okay, what's and how and what's next. Like how we're doing that, where do we move from here? We're going to shift a new focus from catching cheaters to empower our students. Just like how to guide them to the right track, because even if you don't want to believe this is true, but the students are already using it massively. And there are free tools rather than the licenses, the ones. So it's quite available right now. Constructive discussions. I'm going to focus my workshop in the last part as we can brainstorm all together, because we have TEA, we have general education, we have a library, we have music, we have the faculty members. We can talk about it, because if we don't, nobody's just going to care what we do. And people think they are going to take our jobs. Not yet, I have to say, but they are inching in quite fast in a way. So the last part is my evaluation. So I'm going to go through the first part relatively quickly so we can talk constructively as educators. First thing, we're going to focus on the machine. The machine part, the first part is going to be more of a monologue of myself. I give you three tools. Feel free to copy them down or write them down or take pictures. Okay, copy leaks is the top AI tool to bust students' work. Okay, copy leaks. Many of them are free to a certain extent. You can log in with a Google account, and then can you go open the door? Thank you. The accuracy rate is pretty high, 99.1% with copy leaks, making one of the most reliable options. This actually came out of a surprise because I've been using ChatGPT 0, but this is kind of new. The features, this one works with the Chinese. So it's pretty good. It's especially if you teach for example, if our CO colleagues here, most of the course materials are in Chinese. If they were asking to write something in Chinese or Korean or Japanese, they can bust the work quite easily. Okay, and the basic version is free. I also hold a cost area here because I know that as a APA prof here, we are not being paid. We're going to talk about license in the end as well. It's part of the this package. Subscription offers enhanced feature cost around $10 per month, about $10. All the dollars here are US dollars, by the way. Okay, next one is Winston. Out of the three tools I'm going to show you today, we're going to actually testing one of them. Okay, Winston AI, accuracy is pretty good, 99.98 is actually, if they're using AI, they will bust them. Okay, features is very good for education purpose, and the detailed reports, it goes with the report, how many things and highlights of which part is AI generated, which parts are human written. Cost actually is free with Google account. And number three is ChatGPT 0. This is the one I used personally. It's quite accurate, 99%. So with these three tools, all of them are beyond 99%. They are almost catching everything. This one is almost the enemy of ChatGPT. They're actually a bunch of students. I find that students in the States, especially when they're in the undergrad level, they're the most creative bunch, and they're doing a lot of things for free. We watched the movie, or we heard the story. Mark Zuckerberg created Facebook when he was attending the university. Same thing as Steve Jobs was in the university. All things started there. They're so aggressive, they are so encouraged, and there's just a lot of creativity when they're undergrad. And here, the creator of the ChatGPT 0, a bunch of the students in the university, and they actually offer it quite free in a way. Free in most part, but they charge fees. Okay, for later on. Okay, we're going to test one of them. Okay, so you see the result right away in front of your face. So we have some practical things. This is Winston AI. Okay, I'm actually, before you just entered, I went to, this is one of the ChatGPTs. This is one of the tools, the most popular tools students use, because they give you the GPT 3.5 Turbo free of cost. Students use this a lot to generate their homework. So I just gave a very dummy question. I said, write a dance review on Cinderella ballet performance. Melina, probably, he's teaching a lot of courses in dance. You probably ask them to write a critique on the performance, or a dance review or a journal on the choreographic process. They can key in the words and customize. If they're smart enough, they actually customize their prompts, and it's very hard to detect. This is one of the assignments that Melina, right? I got it right. So probably will ask, and they actually do it. They categorize the choreography, performance, music, atmosphere, and also the conclusion. We have another dance faculty member, so that's great. Nicole, do you mind? Can we move to the front so that we can have Maria, all right? Maria, yeah, you can get to the front, okay? So the dance work can be generated quite easily. In fact, I'm teaching another course to a bunch of, my background is in dance. I'm asking students actually watching performance at the cultural center, and I asked the students specifically focus on the storyline, the main character, and also how the mode change on the stage. And the dance review came out is so personalized, and I want the students to use I 3 times in the review. All of a sudden, it's like a drastic change, very personal, very moving, interesting to watch. To read. But this one, I gave the Cinderella ballet performance. We probably all seen it. So it generates this test, and I will wear my glasses. Okay, we do a quick scan, and I copy the dance review right here. Dance review, Cinderella ballet performance. You can see here. Okay, the whole article is there, and I press scan, and it takes a bit time, and it completes right there. 0% human. Human score, 0. Plagiarism and the readability score, so which means it's very much like AI work. Right away, it gives you one. I would suggest the teachers here, when we focus on the machine part, copy and paste the middle part. The beginning, some students, smart kids, they open with their own statement. The smart kid, they judge their level a little bit differently. So it seems that they actually finished the work. But in the middle, is they're actually get the loopholes up. You can copy and paste in the middle or towards the end when they're getting a little bit careless. In the end, smart ones manipulate the conclusion. They know we actually pay attention to both ends. But in the middle part is good. Do the copy and paste in one of those 3 tools. I can share, or Sherry can share the entire PPT link with you later. So you can use those 3 tools quite easily. And they will tell you, this is the Winston's part. It's the best part. If they write their own part, they won't be highlighted. It will tell you, human wrote this part. But for this one, it's the entire, you can see is highlighted in pink. Entirely generated by AI. So I find this tool is quite practical. You can show the students, this is your work, this is all copied, this is checked by this tool, and this not arguable. I find it was useful. So those are the 3 tools, and now we change our attention to identifying AI-generated contents from professor's perspective. So from your perspective, how are you going to use your own eyes to spot it? For myself, probably Misty is in this business for someone. For a while, we can spot the AI work quite regularly, quite easily, but it takes some time to get to that level. I would say, number 1, unusual fluency. This happens in general education a lot. The kids, doesn't spoke a line of English, all of a sudden gave you a perfect English essay. For Henry, he probably got a lot. I heard this complaint since like ChatGPT came out a couple of years ago. So it's quite common. It's just like mouse versus elephant. The little kid, the student is like a little mouse, and all of a sudden writing a big elephant style essay. It just doesn't match. It just doesn't match. And the second one is code. I call it nickname, so it's easier for me to understand. Code, blood, product, like voice. Everything is so general. Personal voice, idiosyncratic, subtle imperfections that characterize the human authored work. It's very cold. It's like you're reading a policy address a document or some kind of legal assignment. Very boring, very general. Third one, factual inconsistency. It's just not. This is cool, particularly math. I had a conversation with my son a couple of days ago. I asked him how tall you are. He said, oh, I'm 5'10". Oh, I said, 5'10", how many centimeters is that? And all of a sudden, GenAI, we all know 5'10" is around probably 170. But GenAI gives us a 156. I'm like, that doesn't sound right just by common sense. Can you check it again? Do it again. And then the ChatGPT is answering differently. So the ChatGPT, one of the things is they're not good with math. If you look into studies, that they always get wrong with the numbers, some people. Okay, so that's interesting to catch there. If you blend in one or two math questions or numbers in your assignment, it's a good way to bust them. It's just like the ChatGPT compare with the literature and the math. It excels in literature, but in math, it's not as good. Absence of conceptual depth, technical proficiency. It goes back to number 2. It's very general, but it's like scratching the surface. It's like BS. Hallucinating in the BS, scrapping the surface and never getting into the depth. Like the first example I gave you on the dance review on the Cinderella. The other one was at the cultural center. I asked the student to look at the costume, look at the mode change, look at the character. All of a sudden it gets into the personal character. It gets into depth. And the student's work is different, very different. Next one, repetitive patterns. It just kept on dwelling on the nonsense, say it over and over and over again. I'm sure that you received those assignments. So what are you talking about? Like even yesterday when we were working out the newsletter from our department, one of the paragraphs was like, I got a PhD and I have no idea what you're talking about. Like it just kept on going. It doesn't make sense. So those are very good indication that is generated by AI. If you ask the student probably doesn't know what it's talking about. Because it's just so easy. I get it done, press the button, I send it to Maria, done. But they don't think the consequence. It's very severe. Sudden shift in quality. That's the tricky thing when they open with their own voice. All of a sudden it's AI, and then the personal voice, the shifting is so huge. And you know the work is not as good. AI is not, I didn't highlight this part. Reference, they're getting better at it. There's new tool called Perplexity. I said it in the last workshop. That one is so precise. It locates the reference in real situation and it provides the hyperlink. So when you write, you can check the references. Very accurate. Perplexity. That's one of the new tools here. Some symbols you may want to pay attention. This is like by your own naked eye. You can see it right away. If student handiwork contains this kind of symbols, most likely is a very, not a very intelligent student. They just copy and paste everything. ChatGPT is getting better. They trying to, before you generate anything, it says the last part is that this article or this written work is generated by artificial intelligence. It tells you, and some students even copy that part up to their assignments. But right now, if you use the prompts, they will take that part out. However, they will use the symbols. They will still contain, especially if you ask students to use point form, bullet point in your essay, in your reflection, but they don't spill it out in bullet point. They give you different symbols. And if you see this kind of work in students' work, most likely it's not human. It's by AI too. So those are parts, I give you the machine to work on, give you the naked eye to work on. Now let's get on the shift, okay? Alternative assessment methods. So different methods to do this is never an easy job because AI is developing so fast, so quickly. I could barely catch up. Every morning I listen to the podcast on the latest AI news, AI development, because I have to, this is my job. I better keep par with what's going on. But it takes effort. I would say this is important. Being here is a great step. You here is a step forward, and you are at least in this kind of the business. And we offer this AI focused workshop at least once a month or once every 2 months or 3. We keep quite up with the game. So, number one, I have to say, this sounds like chicken soup, but it is, we have to, just like a dad and mom remind the kids, like, don't do that, you just have to make it very clear at the beginning of the term. Responsible use of GenAI. They are using it. Even if we don't tell them, we tell them, regardless, they are using this. So might as well responsible use of GenAI. Shifting, this is really important, shifting the catching the cheaters mindset to empowering the students how to use it correctly, smartly. Because like I said in my workshop or in my talks outside, especially APA students, most APA students are not academically strong. They are, in a way, lack confidence in writing. But they are competing with the BU, HKU, UST students. And some students there, CUHK, they're very strong in language. And they can prompt well. But with the new game in place, they might be as a booster for their language skill. They can prompt it well. So that's it's an opportunity if they use it well. Okay. So here, a little advertisement about the work that actually Misty created. Okay, Dr. Choi. We actually have the generative AI guides in APA. If you go on the intranet, you actually, the guide is over there. And some staff ask me, oh, why don't your department develop the policy? Very, very few universities there are confident enough to offer policy because it's changing so fast. Once you say this is not, but AI is changing its way and give you something that is like overcome that one. So we can only provide guide, and guide exists in all UGC universities in Hong Kong. So we have a guide rather than a policy. And if you're interested in that, Misty actually, we can send that link to you as well. Basically, it's a human-centered approach goes number one. The rest is we can work together with GenAI. So formative, if you're teaching for years, if you're in education business, you know, formative, summative, one is ongoing, one is like a one kick, one dry, that's it. You do the homework, you do a long writing. This happens in dissertation a lot. I mean, MA study, you do the thesis, or PhD, the last writing, and that's it, one kick. But right now, really, at this point, most of us teaching the undergrad, formative assessment is way, way, way more superior to identify GenAI. I mean, after all, you can catch them earlier rather than the last paperwork, and that's it. And we all heard the story recently. One of the, was that CUHK or Hong Kong University student changed their script by 1 point, and now he's in jail for 3 years. They had to falsify. They can falsify the work. That's just 1 point, but here they can falsify, fake a lot of writings into it, and they think they can get their degree out. But if we don't teach them well, they're going to make the same mistake after graduation here. We all know how hard to survive in performing arts business. They're going to write a grant application. And if those grant applications are so AI generated, the reviewer is going to trash them in no time. Compare with the BU, UST, those educators or those students, they will write better ones or prompt better ones. So, the few points here, I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm going to choose only a couple of them. I would say early detection, really important. Have an easy assignment, give them at the beginning of the term, and tell them, I found this is happening. explain to me, and maybe you can do better. Guide them early on, catch them early on, rather than too late. Because by mid-semester, you catch them, they're going to flip. They're going to get so furious because their expectation is, I've been sailing through, there's no problem. Why you busted me now? I don't want to put in extra effort. But if you catch them early on, most likely they're going to do something differently. Here, building transparency and trust is all about trust. The APA is lucky in a way that we teach smaller classrooms. Other than general education, you teach a big class. But in most situations, we teach much smaller classes. So it's about the trust. You trust me? I saw John's class. He's like 10, 20 people doing the painting and doing the graphic works, cine arts. He knows every kid by name. He calls Cherry, come here, and she's talking about her life and in front of the camera. There's so much trust. So as Alan, I saw you interact with your students. Very different. So once they have the trust, they will review the things to you much easier. In a way, you're helping them to develop a strong writer in the future. It's like, one was asked you this question, when was the last time you ever written by hands for a long paragraph? It's the same thing, everything we just type. I remember when I went through school, I have to trace the writing. But now it's like, you just learn the keyboard, that's it. It's changing. It's the same. One example is that when computer was invented, all the lawyers got so worried. They thought they're going to lose job, but none of them. We have more lawyers than ever now. It's the same thing. We don't have to be scared at all. This is one of the phenomena in life we have to deal with. Last one is get ready for the F. What does F stand for? I don't even remember. Fail. Okay. Like we don't prepare them well, they will fail in this game. And this is crucial. This is very tough game to survive, both in performing arts or in writing, because everybody, before it was like everybody can, it's so hard to be a photographer, but now everyone can be a photographer after a few Instagram or Facebook or 小红书. Watch, and then they teach you all the technique. All of a sudden, everybody becomes a pro. Easy. Looks like easy, but it's not that easy, okay? The formative feedback allows students to learn why and what upon receiving F. If you give the F at the end, on a different committee, Gordon and I and a bunch of deans, we were working on the new survey for teachers' evaluation. And we changed many questions. And it will be much tougher for all the students to do that in the future because we want to get them more feedback. And when students being failed on the last long essay assignments, they're not going to write anything good there for you. But if you tell them, like first month into the semester, oh, you did this is not appropriate, you should do it differently, or you should work harder. Where's your own voice? It's just asking, why are you here? You spend 4 years doing the performing arts. This is the only writing you write. Why are you doing this? They explain to you, build a trust and transparency eventually. If the students keep on doing this, you still deliver F and there's no comments because it's prepared. I told you 3 times. 3 assignments is all generated by AI. I don't know what you're doing here. You get F and they get it. So less argument. Different approach. I'm going to talk a little bit more and then we have more discussion. Interdisciplinary collaboration. I would say encourage different schools working together. In the APA, I don't know how to describe it. It's hard because we always, in our newsletters or in our programs, we're saying, with the collaboration of TEA, the music school is presenting something, the dance school is presenting something, and general education is doing something. But in fact, we all know that you're just doing your own thing. You're doing your own thing. But the real collaboration, I don't see much. Not yet. Hopefully there are more. Our independent study students actually were putting more things in. So dance, drama, singing, that's in the past. They're all in a major, but then we have a musical theater in early 1900. And that new thing comes out. The film, music, VR, AR, and 360 immersive event, all kinds of things, they can work together. Apparently, the 5th floor, what's that student? Music student? Or the music students doing some kind of installation. And it's very like technical arts. and putting everything there with the sound, with the singer. They talk to each other. The graduate students, in a way, they have more time to talk to each other. Interdisciplinary work, when they work together, different areas, they rely less likely on AI, and it's more collaboration. Talking about collaboration, we can do the reflective journal, but not on one person. Let them co-write a journal reflection based on their Cinderella performance. Marie is going to focus on the costume. Paulina is going to talk about stage design. And May is still going to talk about the main characters. Each one has a role in this Google file. They just key in their own part. All of a sudden, they have role to play in a specific role. When they put it together, and there's one person in charge of synergize everything together, all of a sudden there's human involvement. Let them co-write their journal rather than just one, because one, it prompts for some kind of AI work because it's so fast, so easy. Once in charge of the given topics after discussion, they can actually foster critical thinking skills, reducing independence on GenAI throughout the authentic expression. Another one is performance. This is easy for APA, performative assessment with contextual interviews. It can be verbal, can be physical, dance one, can be video. They do the dance video present. Once you put everyone in front of a camera, all of a sudden people, they act, they behave, they sound very differently. I have a few people in the room. I put the camera right in front of you, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, so much energy. So that's a good, even podcast. It's very, very performative. Okay, this one, I would say in APA, this is really easy for kids, but think twice when you ask them to do it, because even for drama students, I find it's hard. When they face camera, all of a sudden, all the drama skills are out of the window, and they're getting so shy. So, but this is one of the ways. Let them perform it. Ongoing project development with peer feedback. This is interesting. When you give an assignment, a semester-long project, we have a lot of things. We have a year-long course or semester project. I would say peer feedback through different characters. You give feedback, ask them to filter their work through AI. Ask the AI to give feedback, and ask their classmate to go with the feedback. And this loops back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that's, they're learning from the master, they're learning from the smart machine, and they're actually learning from each other. Filter AI as one of the tools in teaching, and you'll be surprised. One of the things I did last semester with the dance students is really interesting. Actually, in one of the workshops, I showed that. The students were promoting choreographic choreographic workshop. And the students actually took a picture of the poster. And all of a sudden, press a button, the poster becomes Instagram post. All the written as hashtag, everything is choreographed that way. And I heard one of the dance students actually did even better. They were asked to create a site-specific dance. I mean, basically dance in the field or dance in public. The kids actually took the assignment. They went to the soccer field right there. There's a big clock, if you remember. The kids was interesting. He took out the phone, took a picture of the field, and asked him, I'm asked to create a site-specific dance project. Give me some ideas. Wow. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, you can dance in 6. You can imitate the clock. Or you can dance in different spots. Ideas like, that's a very, very smart use of GenAI too. It gives you idea. Oh, I don't know how to do it. Well, take a picture and ask for suggestions. They give you 5 ideas. You can maybe draw on 2 and work together. While they work on the 2, other ideas will come up. This will happen in English as well. In music. Very, very likely. They asked this. I know there are tools called the Suno. There are tools or the music creation. They can create a sample, and they will inspire by the GenAI work and do something different. So those are the ways. Practical example. This, I just by picture. We have a graphic design, we have dance, we have drama, we have music, and promotion, marketing, and social media. So this one, they can either do the picture or they work together on that project. I would I wouldn't imagine how, if they use AI on this kind of collaborative work, they're going to use the AI very constructively because it's so hands-on in terms of costume design. They can take pictures and ask for comments, how to blend in with the rest of the stage design. So there are a lot of things that can interact with AI rather than just asking for written work. Personalized monologue. Okay, like I said, this cue cards or teleprompters? No, actually, when the student hand in the written work, I would say, ask them a few questions. If they can answer that, you can, why we call this workshop Reimagining Assessment? When we usually just read. I ran into one of Henry's colleagues yesterday. I was like, how are you doing? And Jenny, not you, okay? One of your colleagues is like, I'm so busy, it's swamped with marking those things. I said, why? You only give them written work? That person said, yeah, that's what they do. I said that there's no Q&A in between. I said, no. But this will be, how would I frame it? You're so tired, you fatigue, but what is the point? You have to ask the question. Yes, it is important, but sometimes you're marking the things that students generated in minutes and you spend half an hour making comments. Is that worth it? So how are we going to do that? So ask you for a few questions. It's pinpoint. You can randomly switch the points there and ask you, what do you mean by saying this? If you, let's say 10 marks for this essay, if you allocate 4 marks or 3 marks in terms of Q&A, students doing the homework, the written part worth 70% or 60%. The next 40% is by Q&A or presentation. If they can present the topic well, even if that work is generated by AI, it's still valid because internalize the concept in writing. I still count that one as one of the learning. That's why I encourage all my colleagues actually to lead the workshop, because for this workshop, I spend hours to prepare and I know the topic so well. By teaching, I master something. Let them teach. Let your student teach. When they teach something, they master something. Eventually, most of our students become teachers because the performing arts, we have a lot of students already teaching there. I'm sure that Joy's students teaching a lot of course outside. If they master this kind of game, they're good. Moment exploration with GenAI embodied. Let them dance, let them move around, let them dramatize, let them embody the knowledge they explored. So those are the things. So I always told my audience when I speak in a conference, it's like, no fun, no learn, no pain, no gain. Like you have to feel it. Otherwise, it becomes like a sit-through. There's nothing in the end. Okay, it just becomes a monologue. You talk. Last night I was with the people here. No, ALIA conference. I was listening to ALIA's conference. 20 people were actually in some kind of presentation preparation because the conference takes place next week in Milan, Italy, and they specifically train every presenter. Make sure you don't do the monologue talk. Make sure they actually hire someone from TED Talk to coach everyone for presentation style. But the 22 people on the screen, they're just talking and talking. It was like so, but you have to have your character. If you let them talk and master something, let them play, let them move, it will be really, really cool. Nicole and Dr. Choi's workshop later this month, they're talking about gamification. They're talking about, what's yours again? Custom chatbot. I so want to attend that one because it's really, you build your bot, actually marks for you. According to some level, if I understand correctly, from you fit in some samples, actually filters through the work so quickly. So this kind of tools is a good to start when you arrive here and give you some practical tools you can use. So this workshop and gamification is good. If they don't have fun, don't carry. They're students not going to carry anything away. That's my suggestion. So I spent the next 2 minutes covering my points, and then we can have discussion. It's way more fruitful when we all speak about it. Recognize this is coming and this is already here, and this only gets stronger. Even though we talk about different topics and whether encourage or not, but students are using it, we have to accept the fact. That's it. Okay, shift the focus from catching the cheaters to empowering how to help them use it correctly or smartly, I would say, because all is using it. I teach in a comprehensive USC. I'm an adjunct professor there. I teach another course. The students are doing a lot of GenAI work, but they're smart. They're smart. They have a course going on how to use GenAI smartly or effectively for both professors and students. I can only do it mostly for teachers here. Although, just be aware, you're the first bunch of people to know. We are actually developing an e-course teaching students how to use GenAI tools effectively. So when that course is out, you're going to face even more works generated by AI. So we probably have to be ahead of them. And that course is going to be launched in a matter of a month, and probably with a certificate in the end. So participation rate might be high, and they will know how to do it smarter than now, I hope. Okay, foster, make them work together. And reflective practice, performative assessment, and ongoing project-based learning. When John is asking Cherry to paint something, I don't think that work can be done by AI anytime soon. When Joyce is asking the students to sing or compose the music, I don't think it's coming, but the students, when they're actually doing this, it's very hard for the GenAI to replace the human input. So I would say adapt the teaching and supporting in real time throughout the formative assessment. Last part is, I would say, guide as a side versus judge in the end. When you are judged in the end, delivered F, nobody's going to be happy. They're going to trash their talk in your teacher evaluation comments. They're going to make your life not as pleasant. They're not going to like you. But if we are actually guided aside, okay, this is the better way. Oh, what have you tried this? Why don't you talk to 358 at USD? I asked the students, 3 of you actually talk together. 2 groups come here. You group talk about how you're going to prompt this assignments out. They actually talk to, oh, how did you do it? Oh, I used this too. Oh, I filter in through the Grammarly and get back to the past tense. They actually work together. I would say they cook their paper. They really literally cooking their paper out. And the quality is better because it's a group work. We actually playing the temporary, we actually played a very temporary role in their life. They're going to move on from us. They're going to move away. So they're going to walk alone. We just provide some guidance and assistance in between. And hopefully we have a little dent there. That's my workshop.